Hey everybody, I'm out here in the open space to the east of our virology center here on East Campus. And this is a space that we've got permission from our landscape services to do our camera trapping for the semester. It's a wide open space. As you'll see in a minute, there's some natural habitat along Dead Man's Run, the creek here. There's also, interestingly, a new thing this year that I hadn't seen before. There's one of the world's worst corn patches up there that I'm hoping our agronomy department doesn't have anything high stakes in the breeding program. Doesn't look like it did that great in the dry weather, but it may attract some deer or some other animals. And in fact, when I came into the space here, there was actually a coyote running through this space. So you may get some interesting things on your trail cameras. Remember that if you have a secure backyard or a farm or something else that your family or you have access to, or you can get permission from someone, you're welcome to put out your 2 trail cameras in other spots as well. But if you are on campus and don't have any access, this is a spot that has fairly low people presence, and so we'll be away from most people, and most people down in this area will actually be coming through. There's some areas here where they can travel to some of the corn and soybean fields that are part of the agronomy department's work here on East Campus. But we'll spin around and just show you that behind me is an area that there used to be a beaver pond a few years ago. The beavers have left, but there's some woody habitats over there, and you'll actually see some remnants of some trail camera setups that were placed in that area, and maybe you want to take advantage of those areas. But there's also, along this creek here, is a riparian zone, and so that's where I'm standing right now, and we'll look at my camera setup in just a second. But all along here, and this continues to wind, there's quite a bit of space, even up for about 300 meters or so past where I'm at. So you can choose a spot to put your camera or your 2 cameras anywhere in this location. I chose this spot because when I came out, it seemed to me that the grass was kind of beat down in this area here along this line of trees, indicating that there were some animal movements. And then you can start to see where I've actually put the camera, even right beside where that camera is. It looked like there was some animal movements back in here, and there may be some areas that some deer are spending the night because the grass back here is beat down pretty good. So you can, I guess the point there is, look for any thing where you could put the camera where it looks like there is some activity, but certainly along these edges between the riparian forest tree habitat and the kind of open grassland, this kind of waste area that's out here in front would be fine. The other nice thing about my location was that there was a nice little tree that was a nice, it doesn't have branches down low if these branches were down here, that would make it hard for the camera to see things. So it had this nice bare trunk up to about here. So I set my camera. I don't have the lock on it yet, and I don't have the security lock on here, but you can see how I've used the straps, and I've tucked in the straps that are left. I've wound them around the tree, tucked those in so that it won't blow around in the wind and blow around in front of the camera. It's at a height just kind of below, it might be like 2.5, 3 feet high. That's a good height for things like if I'm trying to catch deer or coyotes. And then the other thing I wanted to show you that I did in front of the trap is, I think you can see this generally here, is I actually just took my hands and ripped out some of this brome grass here that was growing in front of where the camera was situated so that it has a clearer view out to where this trail is. And you may want to do some housekeeping like that to just kind of rip out some plant life. Now, what I'd like for you to do is to avoid doing any kind of, don't bring your saw down here and start cutting down trees, but some small minimal things where you might have to like bend over a small little shrub or something for your camera access is just fine. The other thing that I've done is I have positioned my camera so that it's pointing south, so that as you saw in the other introductory video we have, that it won't, if an animal walks in front of it, they won't be backlit with the sun either coming up in the morning or going down in the afternoon. And so this is a good location and a good camera direction. I've got the vegetation out of the way so that as the wind blows, the grass won't go in front of the lens quite so much. And I'm ready now to open my camera, make sure the setup is how I want it, and then turn it to on and shut it and put my final security lock on the camera to hide the SD card from anybody that might come along. So we've got it secured to the tree. We would then have the security lock on it on the camera itself to hold it to the tree and keep it there, and then we'd have the security lock on the camera to keep that from being opened and the SD card from being taken. All right, so good view, good location. I'm hoping to pick up some animals as they walk along here, and I've got a higher chance of that because I am concentrating on an area where it looks like animals are moving. Now, when we're out at Cedar Point Biological Station, sometimes we take some cat food or sardines and put out maybe 4 or 5 feet out in front of the camera. We're not providing you with that. If you have something small like that you want to put out as bait to make an animal stop and check that out, even sometimes a novel thing like a plastic Easter egg that you would set on the ground would just make them stop and inspect that item and get a better photo array that way. All right, so I'm ready to go. My camera's set up and I'm ready to see what'll happen in the 5 or 6 days that I leave this camera out.